thought it was supposed to be high five.
All right, folks, this is a little different type of a speech, and it's one I've been putting off because I like to speak like this instead of reading from a book. I'm not much of a reader to begin with anyway, but I picked the book, The Four Agreements. Has anybody ever heard of this book?
Yes.
Awesome. Good. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz, who reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering. The Four Agreements offer a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. What I'm going to do is I've got a couple of passages that are a couple pages at a time, and I'm going to talk about each of the four agreements, and then I thought I'd give a little bit of an opportunity for us to have some dialogue in between if I spark anything, any thoughts or anything as I read. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult one to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence that I call heaven on earth. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it's very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. The Gospel of John in the Bible, speaking of the creation of the universe, says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God." Through the Word you express your creative power. It is through the Word that you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through your word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will be manifested through your words. The word is the most powerful tool that you have as a human. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream or can destroy everything around it. One edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Depending upon how it is used, the word can set you free or it can enslave you even more than you know. The word is so powerful that one word can change a life or destroy the lives of millions of people. Some years ago, one man in Germany, by the use of his word, manipulated a whole country of the most intelligent people. He led them into a world war with just the power of his word. He convinced others to commit atrocious acts and killing and war all over the world. All over, humans destroyed other humans because they were afraid of each other. Hitler's word, based on fear-generated beliefs and agreements, will be remembered for centuries. One thing that really I highlighted it in my book was, regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through your word. What does that mean to you when you hear that?
It's not the word itself, it's the energy behind it.
Yes, very good. Anyone else have a thought on that?
Your tone, your body language, how you present yourself matters more probably than the words.
Good. What about impeccability? Impeccable. Does everybody understand what that means? What is impeccable?
Perfect.
Precise? That's a good word for it. Now let us see what the word impeccability means. Impeccability means without sin. Impeccable comes from the Latin peccatus, which means sin, and the M and impeccable means without. So impeccable means without sin. Now religions talk about sin and sinners, but let's understand what it really means to sin. A sin is anything that you do which goes against yourself. Everything you feel or believe or say that goes against yourself is a sin. You go against yourself when you judge or blame yourself for anything. Being without sin is exactly the opposite. Being impeccable is not going against yourself. When you are impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself. Being impeccable with your word is the correct use of your energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you make an agreement with yourself to be impeccable with your word, just with that intention alone, the truth will manifest through you and clean all of the emotional poison that exists within us. But making this agreement is very difficult because we have learned to be precisely the opposite. We've learned to lie as a habit of our communication with others, and more importantly, with ourselves. We are not impeccable with the word. How many of us use those words to yourself and don't really say the nicest things sometimes? Me especially. Yeah, the concept is great. The ease of implementation, a little different. But that's the first agreement of the four. Be impeccable with your word. The next three agreements are really born from the first agreement. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an earlier example, I see you on the street and I say, hey, you're so stupid. Without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe that you are stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does he know? Is he clairvoyant or something? Or can everybody see how stupid I am? You take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you, and you are trapped in that dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. Personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. During the period of our education or our domestication, we learn to take everything personally. We think we are responsible for everything. Me, 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 me. Always me. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what our world is, and then we try to impose our world on their world. Even when a situation seems so personal, even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. What they say, what they do, and the opinions that they give are according to the agreements that they have in their own minds. Their point of view comes from all the programming that they've received during domestication. If someone gives you an opinion and says, hey, you look fat, don't take it personally. Because the truth is that this person is dealing with his or her own feelings, beliefs, and opinions. That person tried to send poison to you, and if you take it personally, then you take that poison and it becomes yours. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for the predators. They can hook you easily with one little opinion and feed whatever poison they want because you take it personally and you eat it up. Any thoughts on that? Take things personally? My gosh, I had a meeting with my boss today, and been taking on a new role and trying to learn, and I'm the procurement specialist for our department now. And normally I'm used to doing accounting type stuff, budgeting, and working with people, but now I've got to learn all these procurement rules and city codes and all this stuff. So my supervisor called me in this morning and she was like, Scott, you need to do this, and I was like, wait a minute. I did the exact same thing. I copied one of your procurement requests that you did last year, used the same template, used the same word, just updated the dates, everything. And she had like 15 bullet points of things that were wrong with it. And I was like, how is that even possible? I thought I did exactly what you did last year. I took it so personally, it pissed me off. And I had to apologize for the way I came across, for my tone and my actions, because I was ready to jump across the table at her. I mean, I was just like beside myself. She's like, Scott, don't take it personally. I'm giving a speech about that tonight. How come I can't do it? Don't take anything personally, because by taking things personally, you set yourself up to suffer for nothing. Humans are addicted to suffering at different levels and to different degrees, and we support each other in maintaining these addictions. Humans agree to help each other suffer. If you have the need to be abused, you will find it easy to be abused by others. Likewise, if you are with people who need to suffer, something in you makes you abuse them. It is as if they have a note on their back that says, please kick me. They're asking for justification for their suffering. Their addiction to suffering is nothing but an agreement that is reinforced every day. If you are truthful with yourself, you will save yourself a lot of emotional pain. Telling yourself the truth about it may hurt, but you don't need to be attached to that pain. Healing is on the way, and it's just a matter of time before things will be better for you. If someone is not treating you with love and respect, it is a gift if they walk away from you. If that person doesn't walk away, you will surely endure many years of suffering with him or her. Walking away may hurt for a while, but your heart will eventually heal. Then you can choose whatever you want, really. You will find that you don't need to trust others as much as you need to trust yourself to make the right choices. Now, how realistic is that? I mean, how many of us have been in situations with a relationship where you guys just continue to butt heads and you want it to be better, but it just doesn't happen, and you end up just making each other worse, both of you. I mean, it happens every day, everywhere. So don't take it personally. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Making assumptions in our relationships is really asking for problems. Often we make the assumption that our partners know what we think, and that we don't have to say what we want. We assume they're going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we assume they should, we feel so hurt and say, you should have known, right? Another example, you decide to get married, and you make the assumption that your partner sees marriage the same way as you do. Then you live together and you find out this is not true over time. This creates a lot of conflict, but you still don't try to clarify your feelings about the marriage. The husband comes home from work, and the wife is mad, and the husband doesn't know why. Maybe it's because the wife made an assumption. Without telling him what she wants, she makes an assumption that he knows her so well, that he knows what she wants, as if he can read her mind. How many times have we said that to our partners? Read my mind. Come on. She gets so upset because he fails to meet her expectations. Making assumptions in relationships leads to a lot of fights, a lot of difficulties, a lot of misunderstandings with people we supposedly love. In any kind of relationship, we make the assumption that others know what we think, and we don't have to say what we want. They're going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we want, what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and think, how could you do that? You should know. Again, we make the assumption that the other person knows what we want. A whole drama is created because we make this assumption and then put more assumptions on top of it. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I mean, I make assumptions and don't even realize I'm doing it. It's just that easy. So these first three really go hand in hand. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally, and don't make assumptions. To me, those two are almost the same thing. They get into a little bit more detail on the differences in here. They're really similar. And then the fourth agreement, the final agreement, it's the one that allows the other three to become deeply ingrained habits. How important are habits? Right? You ever heard that quote, you are your habits? I mean, so true. The fourth agreement is about the action of the first three. The action. Always do your best. Under any circumstance, always do your best. No more and no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to another. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality, and other times not so good. When you wake up refreshed and energized in the morning, your best will be better than when you're tired at night. Your best will be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick, or sober as opposed to drunk. Your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful and happy, or upset, angry, or jealous. On the other hand, if you take action just for the sake of doing it, without expecting a reward, you will find that you enjoy every action that you do. Rewards will come, but you are not attached to that reward. You can even get more than you would have imagined for yourself without expecting a reward at all. If we like what we do, if we always do our best, then we are really enjoying life. We are having fun, we don't get bored, and we don't have frustrations. The first three agreements will only work if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be able to be impeccable with your word. Your routine habits are too strong and firmly rooted in your mind. But you can do your best. Don't expect that you will never take anything personally. Just do your best. Don't expect that you will never make another assumption, but you can certainly do your best. By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word, taking things personally, and making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. You don't need to judge yourself, feel guilty, or punish yourself if you cannot keep these agreements. If you're doing your best, you will feel good about yourself, even if you still make assumptions, still take things personally, and still are not impeccable with your word. If you do your best always, over and over and over again, you will become a master of transformation. Practice makes the master. By doing your best, you become a master. Everything that you've ever learned, you learn through repetition, right? That's why we're here. Practice, practice, practice. We want to get up, we want to do it, we want to rinse, we repeat. And eventually it just becomes muscle memory. It just becomes, we don't get so nervous and palms sweaty and clammy and all that stuff. Because we start to master it. You learn to write, to drive, and even to walk by repetition. You are a master of speaking your language because you practice. Action is what makes the difference. I did a speech a couple weeks ago and talked about how to jumpstart your Toastmasters experience. And whether you're just getting started or whether you've been here for a while and you need to get re-energized and get back on your journey. I talked about the importance of signing up, raising your hand, taking action, then picking a topic, picking something that you're passionate about, that you really enjoy to speak about, and then making that fit into whatever project, Toastmasters project you're working on. But those things don't matter until you take that action. So raise your hand, step out. That's why we're here. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks so much.